You're watching E.T.N. Entertainment-related new, entertainment-related discussion. Share and subscribe.
Hey guys, welcome to Entertainment Talk Nation. This is Rob. This video, we're going to do our season review for Lost in Space. Yes, Lost in Space. And boy, do I feel much better. Oh, what a weekend. So, as some of you may know, a little of my content dropped off late last week because I got sick with a really bad stomach virus that actually stuck around for a couple of days. I lost like 15 pounds in like a couple of days. It was crazy. I finally started feeling much better yesterday, and then today I felt completely normal. So I'm glad to be back on the mic. And Lost in Space is a show that I watched over the weekend while I was laying in bed. And I got to say, I really, really liked the show. I really did. I thought it was great. You know, Molly Parker, first time I ever saw her was in House of Cards. And I thought she was a good actress there. And it was nice to see that she was in the leading role here. And I thought overall the cast was good, especially Parker Posey. I've kind of always liked Parker Posey. She's not a major star, but she's been in... She kind of stands out in a lot of the work she's done. One of the roles I really did like her, she was a shining light in Superman Returns a couple of years ago, the version with Brandon Routh. She played, oh my God, Kitty. Yes, she played Kitty, and I thought she did well there. I thought she was really good here. You know, the show really takes off right away. And one of the things I like about the show, and this is something that they also did with Arrow, was as you start to learn about these characters, as you start to go through this adventure with them, they go through flashbacks to give you a better understanding of why these characters are acting the way they are. In particular, how the children are and their relationship with their father. And I thought that was really good. And I like the fact that as the episodes progress, you get to learn more and more why they act the way they act with their father. For example, Will, you know, he kind of needs his father to be a certain way in terms of how he's treated. Then I think his father understands. You know, his father was a Navy SEAL, military, didn't spend a lot of time with the kids. So he tends to treat his son a little bit more like a soldier than he does an actual son. You know, he doesn't really know how to act like a dad, or he doesn't know how to provide the things his kids need. And then the relationship with his wife, or, I mean, they never got divorced, just a very odd relationship, you know? And through the adventure, through the episodes, the family starts to slowly come together a little bit more and more as they face certain danger. Now, a lot of people would say, or a lot of people obviously would know that Parker Posey plays the villain, Dr. Smith. Or rather, you know, Dr. Smith, June Harris is her real name, but, you know, you learn a little bit about her throughout the season as well. And I would say she's obviously definitely a villain, and she's a clear-cut villain. She's not the kind of villain that has this tragic backstory that leads her to be the way she is, you know? For example, if you saw Black Panther, you know that Killmonger had a purpose. There was a reason for him doing what he did, and to some degree, you can argue that he's right for being the way he is, but it doesn't make it morally right. Where Dr. Smith, aka June Harris, is just straight evil. There is no tragic story. She is just a bad person. She's a criminal. She's very selfish, and she will use and manipulate other people to get what she wants, or to maintain her survivability. This is actually quite refreshing because we have you know, when it comes to villains in a lot of shows or movies, many of them follow the same routine where there is a tragic story. Now, depending on that tragic story will determine whether or not the villain is good. And sometimes it doesn't always work out. Where this, it's clear cut. She's just bad. You know, they didn't try to complicate things, because you're learning so much about the family and their past and what makes them tick and how they react to each other and how they grow. I don't think there would be much time for a huge backstory for June Harris, so they made her a clear-cut villain. And you want to know something? That's okay, because in some ways, she's not the only villain. The planet is a villain as well. And this is where this was my only gripe with the show, you know, because outside of this, I love the show. I thought it was fantastic. I thought the special effects were great. But I have never seen so much danger happen so much that it got to the point where it got a little bit taxing. Like every corner this family turned, every move they made, every decision they made, every possible step they could take was faced with some imminent danger. And not only does that become taxing after a while, it becomes very predictable. I mean, the showrunners did a great job overall with the show, but I really think they went after the Murphy's Law approach a little bit too much. And that's my only gripe with the show, because then it becomes predictable. And then it becomes to the point where it's like, all right, I mean, we know that things will go wrong more often than they go right. But there is that percentage where things will go in your favor. And while that does happen, it's so few and far between. And then when it does happen, it's a little bit too miraculous. Like, you know, spoiler, you give you guys a couple of seconds to step away if you haven't seen the show yet. But for example, at the end of the season, towards the end, when Don and John head off into space to try and get to the Resolute and, you know, bring people back to rescue them, the ship explodes. And when I said to myself, all right, I know they're probably not going to kill these two characters because these are two of the main characters, even from the movie and from the old show. But I said to myself, how the hell are they going to survive that? That looks like just a straight out explosion. Like there's nothing. And then you find out later that they did survive on a chunk of the ship floating through space, which, again, it's not, you know, if you could suspend, I mean, it's sci-fi. You got to kind of suspend any forms of reality, of course. But I mean, the chances of something like that are slim to none. And I guess you could argue that balances out all the bad things that happen. But like I said, when the good things do happen, they seem so grandiose that it's like, all right, really? But really, at the end of the story, it's still such a great show. And if you saw the movie in '98, okay, which was just a disaster. It was just such a bad movie. And you look at what they did with the show, they really did such a great job. Like I said, Molly Parker is great. I love her as an actress. Like I said, my first time I've ever seen her was in House of Cards, which despite, which despite Kevin Spacey is really a good show. So overall, I think Lost in Space is great. If you haven't had a chance to see it, I suggest you take a chance on Netflix and binge watch it. It's 10 episodes. The special effects are fantastic. I thought even the kids, that's one thing I want to mention. The kids, which most people, when they think of kids in a movie or a show, the first thing they think about is they're going to be annoyed. I don't find that here. I thought the boy did a good job. I thought that the girl who played Judy, I think her name was Taylor Russell in real life. She played Judy Robinson, which in this version of the show, she's actually not the biological child of the parents. She plays the older sister. She's like a very young surgeon, in the medical field, and she does a good job of displaying her post-traumatic stress syndrome from an event early in the show where she was stuck in ice and she had to be rescued. Was very close to death. The son bonding with the robot, which this is a very different approach to the Danger Will Robinson robot. Rather than it being built or part of the family, it's something that the little boy finds when he goes out exploring. It turns out to be an alien. And there's a big twist there I don't want to give away here, but the robot turns out to be an alien that the boy saves, and because of that, the robot becomes very loyal to the boy, pretty much follows him everywhere and does whatever the boy asks. And it's a really good relationship that develops, because where the father was absent in understanding that emotional connection with his son, will develop that relationship with the robot. Even though the robot really doesn't speak at all, the robot's mannerisms, the way it acts towards him, it even hugs him back when he hugs it. So I thought that dynamic was very interesting, because John Robinson, on one hand, he loves the robot because the robot does help them. It does protect his son. It saved his daughter. But on the other hand, he loathes the robot because the robot is having the bond and the relationship with his son that he could never develop. And those are the kind of things, when you take stuff like that, along with the fact that it's a sci-fi, fantastic visually show and everything else and all the elements that are brought in, and really you have yourself a solid package of a show, especially if you're a sci-fi person. The sci-fi stuff is great. The story, I think, so far is very good. And all the dynamics involved with this show, I'm really into it, and I can't wait till next year to see what happens in season 2. But if you saw Lost in Space, what do you think? Tell me, do you like it? Do you not like it? What are the things about the show you love the most? For me personally, I gotta say I love the story. You know, sci-fi sometimes can tether on the edge of cheesiness. This show, while it has some minor cheesy parts, overall, it's just a fantastic adventure. Great visuals, fantastic work by the actors. I love Parker Posey. She's just a wonderful actress. I love Molly Parker, and I think the kids do a fantastic job as well. Overall, this show is just great. If you haven't seen it, I suggest you go check it out. And with that said, that's the end of this video. This is Rob signing off for E.T.N, where we don't do news, we just talk entertainment. Take it easy.
Thank you for watching E.T.N. Click here to watch more content, or you can click here to become an E.T.N patron. Don't forget to leave a comment. Also, make sure you like and share this video. If you want to know when the next video is up, click the notification bell next to the subscribe button. And most of all, make sure to click that subscribe button for regular content.